Hello, fellow filmmakers. It's Jason Love. Welcome to workshop week 4. So today we are re-recording this just because of the fact that it's just easier. It's easier. And when we did the original live course, there was some loud. My kids were home from school as well, so there was a bit of loudness, and this is just easier. So all the students during week 4's workshop shared their videos, so feel free if you'd like. If you're not part of the class, you're just somebody who kind of stumbled upon this and watching the series, go ahead and leave a link in the comments to one of your YouTube channels. Normally that's sort of taboo to do, but if you have like a video that you want to share, go ahead and drop that in the YouTube in the comments, with the warning that there's a chance YouTube might flag them because of the fact that they normally don't like that. But I think you'll be all right as long as you don't do that normally, and I will be going through and allowing them to appear. So here we go. YouTube video production workshop week 4, how to be a better filmmaker. So we have here, this is a relatively short class or topic, so I decided I'm going to break both of them down. So the other video that we're doing for week 4 is about monetization. That'll be in the next a separate video. So how to become a better filmmaker. I created this timeline. It should have probably been more of a circle, but I think the timeline is just slightly easier. So you start with the beginner, right? You create something, get out there and you make something. So it can be something where it's stream of consciousness like this, or it could be, which isn't technically stream of consciousness because I have a layout, but like no script, right? So you could do that. Whatever your interest is, it's best to go and sort of experiment, try new things, see what you enjoy, and because that just does a few things. First of all, it allows you to see, do you like making videos? It also allows you to see if, I wouldn't say if you're any good, because if you enjoy it, it doesn't really matter if you're any good, because you can always, the whole point is to like get better. So don't worry so much about that, but you can find out, if you do your first film and you're like, I didn't really like that, let me try doing an unboxing, let me try doing this, right? There has to be a point where it has to be something so fun that you would do it no matter what, if people watched or not. It's always more fun when people watch, but if you can find something that's just enjoyable to you, that whether it's just playing games and uploading that, I say just playing games, but playing games and uploading that, which video games right now is a huge market. So very competitive though. So it is important over time to kind of find your why people watch you over somebody else, but that's out of the kind of such a big topic, it can't be part of this workshop. We do hope to have a workshop on that later, but so you might create something, and once you have something, you're going to watch it or have someone else watch it and just give you feedback, right? Find out areas you want to improve. Normally when you first start, right, it's going to be more along the lines of what distracted you the most, what was something that you're just like, oh, this, it's hard to watch. So for example, some of the students I've had in the past, it's usually audio, right? The audio, they're shooting from a camera, the camera's far away, which actually isn't a big deal. But the big deal is it's sometimes hard to hear certain people. Usually what you'd want to do ideally is to kind of get everyone close together and the camera up if you have a group. If it's a single person, you want the camera on them. And figure out, are you going to use 2 cameras, stuff like that. But early on, you're probably going to end up just using 1 camera. So those are all things where you say, okay, I'm watching the video, I'm going to show it to someone else who's a friend who I trust, who's going to be nice, but also give, legitimate, just say, hey, I just need one thing that you think needs improvement, right? Again, normally it's audio. It could be lighting. So if the lighting's bad and it's dark, it could be the background's weird. Like I'm not super happy with this background, but this is what we usually do in the workshop, just because, it's a wall that I think's at least somewhat interesting as opposed to just a white wall. Things like that, right? So find something that distracts you. Eventually you get to the point where it's like, okay, not necessarily things that distract you, but places where you get boring. So once you make like a few videos and you kind of have, that stuff down and you're still working on it, then it becomes more about what makes it's not about like making it palatable, and able for people to watch. It's more about how do I make this even more interesting. But again, when you're creating your first thing, you don't want to worry about that. You just create it and you try to follow the steps that we've taught. So once you have the area you want to improve, you're going to learn about that area. So if it's audio, you say, okay, how do I get better audio with my phone or my device or my camera? Or how do I get rid of the hissing sound? Or what microphone should I buy? Things like that. So it kind of depends. You pick like one area even out of that area. So, you know, whether it's, okay, next time I'm going to just have the camera closer. Next time I'm going to. So you're going to try something and then see how that improves. Really, it's really about like getting out a lot of videos, especially when you just start and experimenting. And you don't necessarily have to show anyone your films, but you still need that feedback. So I think of early, the reason why this comes to mind is I think of early filmmakers. I talked with, during our workshop, we talked with the producer who works with David Lynch. And I know from David Lynch's biography, you know, kind of his biography and his documentary about him. Early on, you know, he was just experimenting in school. So it's like, you know, in college, going to film school. So it's one of those things where you can do that at home now. We don't need any, you know, you can make it pretty quick. You can get feedback and you can learn the basics without necessarily going to, you know, paying tens of thousands of dollars or, you know, at the very least several $1,000s. You can just go and learn it yourself. So then you create something using what you learned, right? So you take what you learn, and apply it to your next video, and then just repeat, right? So you learned, you made those changes and say, okay, was this better? And then filmmaking just becomes this long, like, spiral of create, feedback, learn, and create something using what you learned. You know, a big wheel, the wheel of life, you might say. So I hope you find that helpful. If you have any questions, again, the most important thing is just get out and start making stuff. Maybe make 3 or 4 things at a time and then do this process. But it's important to, at some point, instead of just making stuff, is to sort of reflect. Without that, it's never going to get better because you're not going to know where to improve. So thanks again. The next video will be on how to monetize on YouTube. And I appreciate everyone. This was week 4, so I'll talk a little bit. Thank everyone, I guess, then. It's hard to not thank you constantly. Thank you for joining the workshop.